Healthy waters mean a healthy wallet. Hi, class. My name is Clayton Holland, and today I'm going to share with you the economic benefits to having a healthy coast. With the anglers that it sustains, the tourists that generate profit and revenue for both the county and neighboring businesses, and in the end, the locals that should ultimately benefit by the waters and the tax revenue generated by that. So with that, let's jump right into what a ghost trap is. So a crab trap is typically fished with a buoy, line, and six intact sides. But a ghost trap is missing one of those, so it either has one lacking intact side of the trap, a missing line, or a missing buoy. So that in that case, it is deemed removable and a ghost trap. With this, wildlife such as crabs, fish, marine eels, stuff of that nature that are all fishable and benefiting our anglers and commercial fishermen are actually getting stuck in these traps and dying and becoming bait for the next fish. And what that does is it actually creates a lack of seafood available to those anglers, lack of seafood available to those restaurants that supply our tourists and thus generate tax dollars. So this scarcity, as identified on page 2 of the textbook, can be attributed to a couple different things. So some of my sources, such as National Ocean Assistance Aid Group, Ocean Aid 360, the FWC, Florida Wildlife Conservation Groups, and the St. Pete Times had identified this and are actively tracking it to show what impacts it has. So today we're going to be talking about the economic impact of this pandemic, or rather ghost trap pandemic here. So uh, to begin, the FWC has actually issued a closure of by 20% or 2 weeks of our 10-week fishery for these crabs. With that, commercial crabbers have 20% less time to accumulate their crabs that they're going to sell in their short season for the rest of the year. And so with that, we're harvesting less claws total, but also there's also been a local regulation stating that you have to leave one claw intact on the crab. And what that does is by not eliminating both claws of the crab, it enables it to eat faster, regenerate its claws faster, and defend itself. So overall, in the proceeding seasons, it's supposed to increase the margins, as identified on page 10, that these crabbers are supposed to experience from their crab. So from here we can see basically what a ghost trap is doing is attracting fish from the dead marine debris or life that has previously been stuck in the trap, and now they're left to their demise to become late bait for the next fish. So with this shortage of claws, it has created an elastic supply of claws and people that are willing to pay. So that's identified on elastic supply 126 of the textbook. But basically, as we have less claws, they're becoming more valuable because we have that same demand for the claws, but less. So that by pound, we can actually charge more for that claw. And ultimately, we may not even be able to meet the full need of and demand of these claws. So restaurants not being able to receive the claw as a product to mark up and sell aren't producing what the tourists come here to see. So with that, that's going to create an absolute advantage for other communities to fill this need for that lack of claws. And absolute advantage can be identified on page 73 of the textbook. But basically, while these 2 weeks are going on and local crabbers aren't harvesting from our waters, neighboring counties and regulations where they are allowed the crab are actually trucking in these goods to meet this scarcity need and basically use their absolute advantage to fill our need for crabs. So just because you can't harvest them in Tampa Bay does not mean you cannot sell them uh, with that. So yeah, with this new closure, there has been an opportunity cost for the anglers to have 2 weeks less of their annual, uh, availability to crabs. So that 20% less time to fish is 20% less crabs they're going to be getting, 20% less time they're going to be spending on the water, less product in general. But hopefully, this will the end goal is to produce a greater yield or harvest each season by limiting the amount of crabs we take and also leaving the crabs with something to fend for themselves. So, you know, with that, this, mm, yeah, with that, uh, the margins as identified on page 10 of these crabs uh, are being increased price wise, but at the amount net that they can, restaurants and crabbers and anglers and tourists can actually obtain the amount of crab, so less crab it means less revenue that we're going to have all around. So in all, this is why your pocketbook should be hurting for the crabs because without the crabs, without the tourists, without the anglers, without everybody paying taxes, us locals have a harder time reaping the benefits that our waters actually produce. And so we see that through infrastructure and new buildings and tolls and highways and education and just basically anything that encompasses. So now I'm going to go ahead and take a couple questions, and thanks for watching.